Thanks very much, Jessica, and thanks for everybody joining us. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, I guess, depending on where you are on the planet. We do appreciate you spending a little bit of time with us today. So today we're going to be kind of talking about looking at the multi-channel sales in the tangible goods and products scenario. So this is where we might be the value-added distributor of fill in the blank and working that. We may have a proprietary IP product that we manufacture or have manufactured on our behalf that we are trying to sell in multiple channels. So this is something that we've kind of had quite a bit of experience with, and we find our customers really looking for a solution for. So what they have typically done is they are perhaps selling in a business-to-business mode with a retailer, perhaps an Amazon.com, a Walmart, or something like that. Or maybe let's start with like a Walmart, Target, Sears, Kohl's, those kinds of folks where they are doing distribution orders or fulfilling orders to distribution centers on behalf of the retailers, and the retailers have been putting products on the shelf, and that's great, and that's worked for a very, very long time. But what we've seen now is that all of the retailers have their .com environment, and they're certainly trying to compete with the likes of a .com or an Overstock.com, and there's lots of e-commerce sites that are selling products now. There, where I used to go to Amazon for my books and CDs, I now can go there for garden equipment. Well, it doesn't matter. So, we've seen this multi-channel sales kind of really accelerate and need requirement to be in every channel, up to and including my own e-commerce site or sites that I own and operate, kind of almost competing with the likes of the larger retailers. And then, that old-fashioned business-to-business quoting, fulfilling orders is still, high in demand. So it's kind of just the way of reaching that customer, but trying to bring it back into a single order fulfillment. So in the days where I had one large order for 1,000 units, and I would send it off to a distribution center. Order fulfillment could be as clumsy as I needed it to be, as long as it got done correctly. But if I have to deliver 1,000 individual orders to get that same 1,000 order unit revenue, then I really do need a much more efficient way to be able to do things. So it's really what we wanted to kind of chat with you today about, and looking at this process from taking inbound orders from quotes to into a process of fulfillment. So that's really what we're going to be talking about today, all the way through a carrier integration, to an invoice, and to a financial system. Now, we're great partners, great fans of Financial Force, which provides an accounting application, but there's lots of others like QuickBooks and SAP and Oracle. So we don't have to change out all of our back-end accounting and financial systems to be able to work on the efficiency of the supply chain. So I think that's what we wanted to kind of chat with you and share with you today. So that's what we're going to do. Our application is built and delivered as software as a service. So all of our customers are essentially using the same version of the software, but they use it in multiple different ways and integrate it to multiple different systems. So for me to be able to use this, I'm simply today using a Chrome browser, but I could be using Internet Explorer or Safari. So it's kind of all I really need is access to the Internet. So today I have to be running on a Mac, but obviously it'll run on a PC. So it's we kind of think of it as being device agnostic. We just are looking for a way to connect to the application itself, and that could be including a mobile device to check inventories, and maybe something with a little more real estate, like a tab or a something like a tablet product or something like that, where I have a little more screen real estate to be able to do transactions. So this all works quite well for us. So when I have a profile here, I have a name that gives me access to do certain things. So the security is actually down to the user level, and we're going to start in inventory management. One of the first things that we'll ask people is, where do you keep inventory? Where do you keep these tangible goods? And so, like, I could have an inventory control point here in Los Angeles, and then I could have warehouses around, and I could be supporting a dealer network. I could have raw materials, finished goods, quarantined or non-conforming goods that I may want to manage. So each one of these can have their own separate address. Very often our customers will have multiple distribution centers around the country or around the world to be able to do close order fulfillment concept when they're fulfilling their customer order. So we set up inventory in this way to be able to do things, and then products are in our inventory. When we think about inventory, the way we categorize it, we could, it could be related to models. Here I have airplanes, but it could belong to a product group. So if I am selling networking equipment or something like that, then the system will start to try to find things. So we have customers that do wireless technology and software licenses and plumbing supplies and networking equipment and furniture and finishes and solar panels. So, the system is pretty flexible about what these product groups are. But when I say, okay, I'm looking for networking equipment without being product SKU specific, I'm getting a nice list here returned to me saying, yeah, these are all of the products that I have in inventory, where they are. These are in Los Angeles and finished goods, but I have inventory in lots of different places. I have products in Denver, I have products in literally around the world. And then we have some concepts that I think our customers are dependent upon. One of them is this idea of a condition code. And condition code for us says, am I selling new products or am I selling something that's customer returned and refurbished? Because that should be at a different price, obviously. So I would never pay the same for new as I would for a used product. So we're very good with this concept of an aftermarket for our products. We keep all of our products in inventory, specific in actual cost, down to the serial number and lot number control. So if you are doing, when you do cost of goods sold, that is the value that will go to the actual cost of goods sold when we send that debit or credit over to the finance system that you choose. So what we're going to do here today is we're going to play a little bit around with this order fulfillment, this multi-channel, so we can kind of talk a little bit about it. So we will have customers that will get requests for quotes in from their website where they have to quote and respond. Our application will pick up that request and return that quote to that potential customer in a way that we call lights out. So it's, in other words, it'll come in, it'll price it based on the rules on the price list, and return that to the customer from the website. We could take a customer EDI order, and in this case, what we're looking at here is an order that's come from Target stores. And we have converted this EDI order over to a sales order on our behalf. So when I look at this particular sales order now, this is where we're starting to do third-party fulfillment. So in other words, in this particular case, our customer or our customer's customer, this Keeley person right here that lives in Westchester, Pennsylvania, has come in, has ordered from Target.com, and we have picked up the purchase order from Target.com via EDI. So the sales channel in this way is coming from EDI, but there's lots of places it could come from, right? It could come from our website, somebody else's website, like at Target.com or something like that. So it'll work in multiple different ways, and this channel performance becomes kind of the key thing. So we're booking an order from Target automatically and then delivering it to Target's customer. So we're doing a drop ship single order fulfillment based on a customer EDI order inbound. So we're picking these up at various times during the day. We have customers that pick them up every few minutes and customers that pick them up once a day. Just really depends on the order velocity. But if you're doing 2,000, 2,500 orders a day, you're going to want to be picking them up pretty frequently, I would imagine. So when we, how do you get everything into the standard fulfillment order? So we've really kind of thought about this from an EDI, from a website integration point of view. We use the ANSI standards, X12 transactions for inbound purchase order, which is an 850 transaction. Send the 855 acknowledgement, do the 860 invoice transaction. So if you want to trade via EDI, it's very popular. It's not as scary as everybody thinks that it is, or as expensive as everybody thinks it is, because all of the major retailers certainly do have value-added networks that we can use and connect to. So the other way to kind of think about how we might sell to a customer is with a simple quote. And so the system provides different fulfillment models. We'll do a drop ship fulfillment, like where we're doing it from a supplier or contract manufacturer directly on our behalf, where we might be a value-added reseller. Or in this case, we're going to fill from one of our inventory control points and when we're looking at things. So the system is designed to be able to work with a current customer, in this case where we have an account and a contact, and we know the people and we have a relationship with them, we've sold them before, or perhaps they are visiting us for the first time and then we just want to get a quote out to them, and then they're a prospect. We don't really have them set up as a customer. So there's someone I like to do trade with. He's called me. He's looking for some product. Miguel here, so we're going to quote Miguel for a product. And so when we quote Miguel, we get a lot of information about Miguel, like who is he, what's his contact information, where does he live, where do we deliver things to, because that has a lot of ramifications in terms of taxation. So we're going to talk a little bit about the complexity of taxation nowadays. It's getting worse. So, and what we want to do is quote Miguel. So what we're going to do is we're going to start, Miguel's looking for some widgets from me, so I'm going to quote a specific widget that Miguel's interested in. And because the quoting system's now integrated back to our inventory, when I ask for this widget to sell, it's telling me what the available to promise is, but not only available to promise in terms of just general product, but what product condition code is. Is it serviceable? Is it new? Is it deemed surplus? Is it overhauled? Is it belong to a customer already? Is it customer returned and refurbished? Because the pricing model is specific to all of these types of potential conditions, right? So if I'm holding customer inventory for a customer and a customer now wants me to deliver that to them and they've negotiated a special price, they can have that special price. So the other kind of aspect that the system is trying to deal with here is, boy, when I sell this fan belt here, I can sell them potentially an upsell item of bearings and fans that might go with that. Another way customers will use this is saying, well, if they deliver a product and there's a warranty fee or an extended warranty that is a potential upsell, then maybe I want to just automatically include a warranty and pricing for that. So based on the rules inside the system, how products are related to each other, we can do that. So I'm going to sell Miguel here some brand new product. So I say save. And so based on my relationship with Miguel, any specific pricing that I have, the system is establishing for me the list price based on all of those relationships that we have in terms of what day I am doing this work, what condition code that he wanted to buy them in, what relationship I specifically have with him, and it's picking a very specific price for Miguel in this way. So when I say, yep, that's exactly what I want to do, and now I've got upsell items here that I want to sell with this for this bearing, this fan, so they come in automatically. So if I want to price these, it's pretty easy. There's lots of different ways we can price. We'll have customers that do a cost plus model, a profit margin, or I can do a list minus. So if I want to do a list minus, pretty easy. I'm going to do a list minus of, let's say, 5% for Miguel and apply that to this, and it comes and calculates for me the customer price based on that 5% discount. So what we have found in the sales world, that's kind of the interesting work that's going on, where typically sales reps are being comped based on the total value of a deal. We're seeing this change in request to us to be able to now calculate commission not based on the total deal, but this gross profit percentage and value. So you're getting if you bring me a more profitable deal, in other words, what businesses are saying, and then I will compensate you higher. But I'm not going to, let you just give it away at almost 1-2% margin. If you can get more than that, if you get 3-4-5% margin for tight margin businesses, you can make a lot more money. So it's a change we've seen in the marketplace, and people coming to us and asking us for that kind of functionality. So it doesn't matter what I do with this deal. If I change this 1 to 100, then pretty simple, it'll recalculate all of the pricing for Miguel here out and give me the total deal and then recalculate the margin. So at the item level, I can calculate numbers and change them. So if I can negotiate a special price on one particular item versus another. So an example, if I just want to price this one item and change its list minus here to maybe just 1% and apply that, it has an effect on the total deal. So, down to the line item to be able to price any way that you want. We can also add perhaps a bottom line discount, or say, that's kind of a funny number, that $6,831.50. Maybe I could sell it at $59.99, and that's a more easy or palatable number for Miguel. So you can manipulate all of these, and all of that mathematics will go around and actually maintain the gross profit margin for me, so I can understand how we're doing that. So typically, if I want to kind of get a little fancy here with this, one of the things that we see as a huge problem is the idea of taxing as I sell across borders, in terms of just within the North American community. Here in Los Angeles, depending on the product that I buy, it will have a different tax code if I'm buying software versus hardware versus something I'm going to resell. So all of those tax rules become very, very important for us, especially if we're selling through e-commerce sites or just quoting there. So all of these taxing municipalities are struggling for revenue, and they're finding ways to add fees for the commerce over the internet and just doing this interstate business. So we've kind of taken that on as a challenge, and we worked with a great company called Avalara that provides us all of the taxations for all of the different municipalities down to the rooftop level. So it could very well, though it's not zip code, it's not city, it's down to that rooftop level. So today, because Miguel happens to be at 1600 Pennsylvania Avenue in Washington, D.C., so we're poking a little bit of fun here, but we're going to charge Miguel this much tax, right? So that is today, at this moment, what the tax rate is. And because we're in a quote model, what we're actually thinking about here is the estimated taxes, because Miguel may accept this quote a month from now and the tax rate may change. So we'll iteratively tax this. So these transactions, I click the tax button, but that could obviously be automated for you to do that. So we can send a quote to Miguel. So our platform would include an email, outbound email, to go out to Miguel, to deliver him a document that says, hey, thanks for your request for pricing. And what does a quote look like? Well, there's not really a bad answer or a good answer. There's only your specific organization answer. So when we generate this quote for Miguel here, here's the widgets, and here's our pricing, taxes, not taxes, grouping, not grouping, however we want to present this to Miguel. And we brand these for our customers typically, obviously, so that they can get a sense of their company in their correspondence with their prospects and say, okay, that's great. Miguel's quite happy with all of this information. When we want to book an order, we're going to just one click and take all of that quote selling price information here and put it into an order. So this is our account that Miguel works for. This is the company. So we think about it as we quote people, but we sell to companies. So Miguel works for ABC Aviation Company, and he now has our order. He may have multiple ship-to addresses. We have a customer that sells to Apple. They have one bill to, but they have about 362 ship-to addresses for every retail organization. So something to kind of think about. But now my sales channel has changed. In this case, I pretended that I was a partner reseller of this product. And so that's a sales channel that I've looked at. I am a telesales rep. I did that, and it came from quote, as opposed to an EDI order that we looked at earlier, and I'm sending this direct to Miguel, so there's not a drop shipment requirement. So we're going to ask shipping to do this on FOB at destination. We're going to put 30-day terms on Miguel's order. He's got some sort of a purchase order number, and he gave me his PO today. And then from a shipment services point of view, we're going to have them ship this second day. We're going to request that. And from shipment options, we want to send an advanced ship notice email with the tracking information when we have that and get that. So we're ready to go on this particular order. So we'll save the order and those parameters. And so we have this concept of an allocation. So allocation for us, what it does is it reserves the inventory specifically for a customer order. so that when I'm the sales rep and I'm trying to sell this widget again, even though I haven't shipped this yet, my available to promise quantity has actually changed because it's sold to Miguel and I just haven't had a chance to get it shipped yet. So the application includes electronic approval on orders based on an entry criteria. The orders over this, the gross profits under that. It's with this particular account. They're on some sort of a credit watch. So those people that approve these orders are involved in electronically in improving the contracts as they're let with the customer. So we have, at the end of the day, I have an approved order, and from a shipment status is they are ready to go. So how do we do this in the fulfillment space? So I'm going to kind of switch from the sales role, and I'm going to go to shipping and receiving. And inside of shipping and receiving, we have a concept where all of the work that needs to be done sits in a queue of work that's actionable. So we call them, strangely enough, action queues. So we have an action queue for the warehouse, for production orders, for shipping, for inspection. But right now what we're trying to focus on is delivering to our customer. So right now I can kind of see here I've got in customer orders to fill, I have 32 customer orders that need to be filled. I have things that need to be shipped to suppliers, need to be pulled to ship to suppliers, things that have come in that need to be put away. So all of these things are kind of working together. I got cycle counting to do, I got transfers to do. So this is all of the work that's queued up for me to do. So our customer order here sits with 32 other orders and everything that needs to be done. So these are all of the orders from all of the customers that need to be done. So what we do is we print a pack slip, our pick slip, that says, hey, let's go out into the warehouse and pull all of the products that Miguel is bought from us. So this is the location inside of the warehouse that we're pulling from. These are all of the specific lot numbers. You can see these items are under lot number control in different locations that need to be pulled, so it tells this user exactly where to go get them. And rather than trying to confirm and effectively type every product SKU and everything done, like a lot of customers will do that via barcoding, or I can simply hit the word confirm here. And what that really does for me is says, okay, I have pulled this from the warehouse queue. So instead of having 32 orders to pull, I now only have 31 customer orders to fill. So this is happening dynamically as orders are coming inbound, outbound, and it moves it from the warehouse queue over to our shipping queue, where it can be delivered to the customer. So now in shipping, they have 14 orders that need to be delivered to the customer, and so we've got Miguel's orders in this queue with the rest of them. So all of these queues can be sorted based on date, based on priority, based on carrier, and you can multi-print pack slips. These are the documents that go inside the box or on the box, and you can work. In this case, we're going to process an order, just a single order, so you can kind of get a feel for how this will work. But I pull from the sales order all of the information that we have. I know that we had requested today. We had requested an advance ship email go out to Miguel. So we may, as a fulfillment place, be using ABC Aviation's account number for FedEx, or we may be using our own. And if we want to go in and do this in 2 days, so I'm going to change that from ground service to 2-day freight and ship this to Miguel. We'll run off to FedEx via web service and return the FedEx tracking number. So we'll do this with FedEx, the United States Post Office, UPS, and DHL. So whatever service you want to connect to, we're happy to do that. We'll also add carrier fees that come back from the carrier and save that. We'll print a pack slip that goes in the box. So this is just kind of one-off. We can obviously print a bunch of these in a batch for you. This is the stuff, hey, Miguel, thanks for your business. Here's everything that you bought from us today, and we totally appreciate that you've got these items fulfilled. So he's got that. Some of our customers put the return process and return material authorization process on there. And when we're done, we are done. So The definition of done from this means is that not only have we taken the shipping queue and said, okay, we've shipped Miguel's order to him, he's done, but we've also gone back and updated literally everything in the system. So we've gone through the sales order, and we're now showing this order as fulfilled to Miguel. In 4 minutes, I was able to go from approval to a fulfillment. So this is usually a key performance indicator, the amount of time that it takes to fill a customer order. So we like to have that kind of data. We've sent him our advanced ship notice email. We've updated the sales order with all of the shipment transactions. We've completed our quote, and we've created an invoice that's based on everything that's there. So our shipment is complete with FedEx. So Miguel's got his email, he's happy, but our invoice now has the detail of everything that we have sold him. So all of that specific invoice data goes off and does that work for us. And then we have all of the pricing and amounts that go in. So when we look at a very specific product that we have sold, we can see that, yep, that invoice went out, and in this case, this was the lot number that went into fulfillment. So if you need to track like a lot number on the invoice that a customer has, or perhaps a serial number of an item that a customer has to have, this has a lot of effect on return and warranty. So if you have serialized products, that gets to be really important in those kind of processes. So he's got his product. Our invoice is complete. We can send that over, and we will typically send that over to a foreign accounting system. In this case, we've sent it to Financial Force and for delivery to the customer, doing cash receipts, cash matching, and those kind of functions in the accounting system. And then the sales order is now linked to the invoice, to the shipment, and we're completely complete. So we've got every piece of data we have in one place without anybody having to do anything kind of crazy in terms of what we're doing in regards to the process of doing order fulfillment. So that's kind of a quick snapshot from how we get from inbound orders to the out back to our delivering that order to our customer. So when we think about these things, we're thinking about this order fulfillment process. We like to think about the metrics of that. So as I look at customer orders and bookings, system comes with a set of dashboards and reports that are standard reports and dashboards, but you certainly can augment those as customers. So if I want to look at customer orders and bookings and those sorts of things and get a instrumented business, then I can look now and say, these are the orders that have come in from my customers. These are the open orders that I have yet to deliver. These are the customer shipments per day. This is my outstanding return material authorizations that are in process of, we're monitoring that process for them. And then this is important. This is my channel performance. So my value-added resellers are generating revenue at this level. My partners are doing this, and my direct sales force is doing this. So as you think about sales performance, what is a certain retailer doing? What is a certain website doing for you? What is your website doing? What is your inside sales group versus your account reps doing? These are all channels that are contacting and intervening with your customers. What is their performance, and where can you intervene in the business? Should I be looking at my direct sales force, my partner? Are these percentages of total sales make sense to me, or is there somewhere I need to intervene with the business to be able to get to this data? So all of the reports are backed up with, or all of the dashboards rather, are backed up with reports that substantiate these graphical presentations of that number. So if I want to see customer orders, I'm really just one click away. So to looking at all of the orders that are coming in. So if I look at that ABC Corporation, I'm looking at all of the sales for all of the orders, which rep did them, who's done that, so that sum of that external price. And you're always just kind of one click away from any kind of pieces of data. So if I want to know what order that actually is, right from the report, I can go right back to our sales order and say, well, why hasn't this order been done? It was approved, it's partially allocated, it's on an expedite with the customer. It's interesting, why haven't we shipped this particular order? And the reason is we have a product right here on back order. So a couple of allocations and one's on back order. So it only took me like, 2 clicks to kind of get to a customer order that has a problem. So we like this instrumented business, or this concept of an instrumented business, to be able to work in a tangible goods fulfillment model, especially selling in multiple channels, because we want all channels coming to one order fulfillment. And what we've typically have seen, which has been and why do anything kind of question, is what we'll typically see is they all have businesses invested quite a bit in their own e-commerce site with a product, but it's not really integrated into the information system. So it means that they have employees that are going and retyping e-commerce orders into their order fulfillment system. And there's just not really a reason for that anymore. It used to be hard. It used to be difficult. It used to take a lot of time. We're talking, now we're talking hours, where we were talking weeks to be able to make these things happen in this kind of a delivery ecosystem. So it doesn't matter what tool you've chosen for your e-commerce site, what retailer you want to do business with or are doing business. If you're going to their website, printing their pack slip, printing their order so that you can re-enter that data into your system, that just doesn't scale. It simply does not scale. So we're trying to help in these ways with our customers. We have some great customer reference stories that are working in these ways to do that, to solve those exact problems. So, Jessica, do we have any questions from anybody? Because I know we had invited people to ask questions. Do we have any questions?
We do have a couple questions. One of the questions we have is, and I think you just briefly touched on it, but whether or not we could create customized pack slips.
Yeah, okay, so let's drill down on that a little bit. So if you're doing fulfillment for a retailer like Walmart or Target or Kohl's, Sears, when that Sears customer ordered it, they're expecting to get a package from Sears. So if Sears has pushed that fulfillment back to you, you need to generate a Sears pack slip. So typically how that's done is Sears will give you a website to be able to print that pack slip, and then you'll print it and do that. We can actually do that right from our system. We've done, I think, about a couple dozen, maybe 30 different retailers' pack slips, from very complicated ones like Kohl's and Walmart and Target to more simpler ones like Amazon that are easier to do. But we've done them all, and what we call them is pixel perfect, and they very often will include barcoding. So that's easy for us to do. So that was a good question. Thanks, Jessica. Is there another one?
There is. As far as how shipments are handled, what if we use our own vehicles? Is there a way to manage that?
Great. So if you're managing your own fleet, then we can help you with what we call a distribution shipment. So distribution shipments calculate the weight and cube of a specific delivery order. So rather than that single order fulfillment, in this case what we're doing is we've got several items that are shipping out to in a truck. So if I'm routing my own truck through my customers or doing a very large distribution order to a distribution center, then what I need to really be able to do is calculate this total cube and total weight. So in other words, 1,000 pounds of fishing weights are much smaller than 1,000 pounds of pillows. Still 1,000 pounds, so weight is weight, but cube could be much different. So, do I need a 53-foot trailer? Do I need a box trailer? And if you outsource this kind of delivery to a carrier, then you're going to need things like the SAC codes and the tracking number and the trailer number and the seal number. And so things we're very used to this, obviously, to be able to do this. But in this case, we're fulfilling multiple different purchase orders to the same order. So just a different fulfillment model. So a good question there.
Okay, and the last question is, how are you able to see the sales history? I'm not sure if that's on an item or a customer, so I know we've talked a little bit about a customer earlier. So,
Yeah, so there's a couple of different ways. So, when I think about it from maybe a customer perspective, that might be a good way to think about it. So I have lots of different accounts, and we were working with that you could possibly be working with. So when we start to think about sales with an account, then so this is my customer account record, who they are, where do they live, that kind of information, how do I kind of work with them. And when we keep coming down here, when we go through their outstanding balances, when we're integrated with a finance system and all of that, we end up with contracts and contacts and payables. And then this is all of the sales that I have done with this very specific account. So, how often they buy, what they're buying, what products, goods, and services that they're buying from me, the status around their invoice, is it paid, not paid. So, these things are just kind of coming standard back to us from the system transactions. And then I guess the other way to kind of think about this might be from an item. And so if I was to think about, okay, what item am I selling, it might be interesting to kind of look at it that way. So if I go item-wise, pretty easy to kind of examine something. So we'll look at the widget that we just sold and all of the detail that, takes to, how do I buy it, how do I sell it, all that kind of thing, and then the available inventory of it, and then what is my kind of system overview. This is where inventory is. But if I look at this item from a macro basis now, then I can say, okay, what is it? Certainly, inventory is one way to kind of look about an item, but if I want to look at sales history or purchase history, then I'm usually just kind of one click away. So this is my inventory, but this is my sale. So I am gotten 248 different sales of this product for different quantities at different prices over time. This is my price list. So I have a couple of customer agreements. I've had a promotional price earlier this year. The price list is quantity sensitive and condition code sensitive. So based on time and condition and what customer agreement I have, each customer for the very same product is getting potentially a different price. So that's maybe a couple of different ways to think about the sales piece. So I see that we have come towards the end of our time together. So we might want to wrap up a little bit here, I guess, Jessica, just in respect for everybody's time. So again, we do want to thank you for joining us today. We appreciate you spending a little bit of time of your day there. What we what we think about around here all day long is how do we get to some kind of a value that is in fact quantifiable in terms of an efficient sales model, an efficient fulfillment model, a reduced cost of ownership. Because we are a cloud-based and subscription-based service, you don't have to buy servers and database products and firewall products and backup products and all of that. We're managing all of that complexity for you so that you can just focus on your business. So we believe that we create value not only just from an efficient, experience of a business transaction, but from an actually delivery model, the way that we deliver it. And we're really just kind of looking for something that's very, very repeatable. And the word we like to use is smooth. It's a smooth process. It naturally transitions. When I'm in that action queue in warehouse, I know exactly what I have to do today. I don't have to run a report, look at something. I can just simply go there and it tells me everything I need to do. So we like this smooth process because at the end of the day, just as consumers, and we're individual consumers, when somebody says they're going to ship me something and they don't, it annoys me. And I am less likely to do that. And because so many products are commoditized, I can go somewhere else. And it's really that service experience that differentiates where I buy from. So, that's kind of what we are about. Where we love people, we don't like people-dependent processes. So, because they don't scale. So that's kind of what we're doing, and where you can, kind of think about when you think about us, those kind of things that we might think about. So again, we did want to thank you. If you'd like to chat with our sales group, you can reach us, of course, at lesssoftware.com, and you can send an email to sales@lesssoftware.com, or you can call us directly toll free at 866-603-1454, and you can ask for Caroline Pomeroy. She's our Director of Sales, and she can help you specifically or get you to the right person that can